Welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
I'm Ari.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Josh, and
This is Trevor.
joining us via phone is Trevor.
Hello.
He's a little purple oyster.
Today we're going to be going over a Lemony Snicket work, but it's not a book from Series of Unfortunate Events.
Not yet.
Instead, it's a children's book that he wrote with music by Nathaniel Stuckey and with illustrations by Carson Ellis. That work is The Composer is Dead.
Gah.
And it comes with musical accompaniment of
What is
CD.
the copyright date on that? I'm curious.
2009.
Okay.
I'm still learning how to walk.
Trevor, can you do some research for us? I mean, after you do your discussion starter, can you try to see if this person and Paul Stuckey are related?
They are related, but very distantly.
Oh.
Probably a third cousin 4 times removed, or a fourth cousin 3 times removed.
Are you joking or are you being serious?
I am actually being serious. They are related, but very distantly.
Wow, that's incredible. So what he's saying is that the person who did the music for this is actually related distantly to Noel Paul Stuckey of Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Okay.
That's what he's saying.
Apparently, Nathaniel's great-grandparents also had descendants which included Noel Paul Stuckey. Presumably, it was not the same parents or grandparents.
Trevor, what's your discussion starter for The Composer is Dead?
What exactly would constitute killing a work of music, or a work of music, depending. Sorry, got tongue-tied again.
As a musician, I can answer that. When you miss your cue. No, seriously, when you miss your
As
cue.
a musician, that's pretty much an easy answer to question to answer.
Or if you get
but
hurt.
I'm thinking more of arrangers, or possibly both. What exactly would constitute killing a work of music? And not just for musicians, but also arrangers as well.
I think if you want to be specific, ignoring, not playing the music, I think that in a way, once a composer is gone, the way that you keep their music alive is by continuing to play it, which it's a bit contradictory because the composer is generally the one that is the coordinator and the controller of the piece.
Yes.
Once they are gone, a conductor steps in and interprets it. So in a way, they are playing over the composer, be it their original intent or whatnot. There's that idea that it could be murder, but at the same time, ignoring it and not doing anything about it, especially during a time where you could not record it.
I think writing it down multiple times, not just once, like
Right.
actually making multiple copies of the same work. I mean, even back then, you couldn't really, copy things. But just
Have it
making,
done. Done.
handwrite it the second time, I think is a good way to make sure that things don't die. And, even if you don't sell the music, just let people know about it. It's usually the best way to keep stuff alive and to keep the composer's vision alive.
And speaking as a musician and drumming, great composers on the drums. They have written out works, and when somebody goes to play it, it's not exactly the same, but it can be in a way. I mean, you have musicians that can't write music, can't read music, but for some reason, when they sit down at that harpsichord, like I'm gonna say, Amadeus, he was out there, and I'm putting that nicely. Mozart.
You're talking about Mozart.
Yeah, Mozart. He was
Amadeus was
yeah.
good.
And wasn't Beethoven also?
Beethoven, with
Beethoven
him,
was deaf.
he had a hard time with the ladies because back then hygiene was not really a thing, and he could not end a piece. He would just keep going on and on and on, like what we do sometimes. No, I'm kidding. But he had to literally just stop playing. I've been with a lot of groups. I've done orchestral work for a long time, and I've seen things I come across my music stand were just pure works of art. And some of these people, 9 times out of 10, they were probably deceased. But we were carrying on their culture, tradition, their values, and what they believed in. Because when you write music, you bring your
I did
feelings.
have this issue a couple of times where some of my works just died because I didn't write them down. I forgot the chords. And
and
I've got to do that more often, as my mom consistently tells me to do.
And as we were saying, people say, "Why don't you write drum music?" Well, technically, I can write drum music. I know how to. Do I want to sit there and do it? No. Because, yeah, and drummers can read music. There are drummers like myself who can read music.
I can't read music.
No, I mean,
Look at all the stuff I make.
the ongoing joke is drummers don't know how to read music, and that's actually a lot of...
I know a couple drummers who can read music.
I can too.
Me too.
No, I know, but that's like the ongoing joke. We always lose our drum keys. We always show up late, and we're drunk, and we're stupid.
And they're always in the back of the band,
yeah.
and they're always mischievous. Yeah, I've heard all that.
I mean, okay, that is true to an extent. Yes, I can sometimes be accident prone. I can read music, and that sets me apart from other drummers and percussionists that can play just as good, if not even better.
But I think Josh was trying to say something now.
Yeah, I think that as far as the piece is concerned, I think that the incorporation of the instruments makes this a bit more whimsical and appealing to younger audiences because
it definitely felt like a children's
It's
book.
easier for them to connect with simple figures, inanimate pieces per se. I think that it was great that they were able to incorporate composers.
I really liked the pictures in this, by the way.
The illustration is very...
Trevor, did you know
Incredible.
that these? Did you know what these illustrations would look like when you picked the book and what was going to be in the book?
No, I did not know what the illustrations would look like. Although I am familiar with some of Carson Ellis's work. She did the album covers for the group The Decemberists.
Really?
Whose frontman...
Like of Eli the Barrow Boy fame?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
I can't even remember. Colin Malloy
Oh,
is
yeah.
her husband.
When you suggested this book, did you have an idea of what it was going to be about, or was it the title that interested you, or the content?
A little bit of all three, in fact.
Because I thought it was really cool.
It was pleasant. I mean, it has to do with a detective solving the mystery of a composer suddenly dying, and it had that dark and grim, but in the same way...
I felt a little bit like a little tiny kid's Poirot in there.
Kind of.
Just a little
but
bit.
I think that
Poirot.
it also gives you that sense, it's a beginner's guide to music appreciation.
Thank you.
I couldn't help but think about my music classes back in elementary school.
I did not know you took music lessons.
Classes. It was,
you mean
it was one of the specials. It was
I didn't realize that. Okay.
gym, art, library, computers, and music.
Gotcha.
And with music, her name was Mrs. Klein, and she was very passionate. She would primarily start with the different keys, and I think she would do ta, 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 ta,
Yeah.
and then every month she would have a different composer that she would incorporate into the lesson. She was able to engage us as 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, and she was able to make them and their work very engaging. There was no PowerPoint back then, so she would come out with a globe and tell us where they came from. And anytime she would mention Italy, it would be the one that's shaped like a boot. And then she would play a piece of a piece of theirs. I know that.
Oh, like lasagna. La 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 lasagna.
No, not that.
Get any on ya, you sloppy.
Sometimes she would play
ravioli.
Sometimes she would play Halloween. There would be Mrs. White had a fright in the middle of the night. Saw a ghost eating toast hiding by the lamppost.
Mrs. White had a niffy and killed Mr. Body in the library.
She trained us like connoisseurs, where it was eyes closed, ears open. Music teachers these days are doing something interesting where they're having students walk or move to the music because they engage differently.
I'm actually applying to become a music teacher right now. I don't have quite all the qualifications yet, but and so when I did read this, it definitely made me feel like it does have a lot to do with music, but as a kid's book, I think the more important is the story, just the general detective solving a mystery kind of thing.
And I think it gives them.
It does show the importance of music, though.
Yes, it gives them the building blocks to go even further.
But I know that I know a little bit about the music schools in my more public music programs in my township, and I know that they actually do an interesting thing where it's more about every time you go to class, you get to play a new instrument, something small usually, like an ocarina or a recorder or something. Sometimes those boom pipe thingies where you go.
Ours was a little bit more minimal.
You mean the timpani?
No, it's like these plastic pipes that they're different notes. Very interesting. First of all, I have to say I'm surprised that Lemony Snicket used the name Lemony Snicket for this book. Trevor, what do you think about that? Do you think that, him using Lemony
Snicket.
Thank you. As a name for his author in this book it was a decision you were surprised about?
Well, I don't think it was a decision I was surprised about, considering the origin of the name and basically how it differentiates from his own work under his own name. I mean, it started out as when Handler was doing some research for the book The Basic Eight, he was looking up some pamphlets from certain kinds of hate groups of political extremes, but because he didn't want them to put his real name on their mailing list, get any wrong ideas about him, he chose the name Lemony Snicket. And to his astonishment, the name stuck.
Sounds like Prophet one, right?
Cranky letters to the editor, Lemony Snicket. Dinner reservations at various fancy restaurants, Lemony Snicket. They even invented a Lemony Snicket drink.
No way. Alcoholic?
Alcoholic.
I'm too young to
Well,
drink.
this Josh isn't drinking that.
Me either. I'm too young.
But,
Don't worry, I'm not going to give out the recipe. Just take it as read that it is.
I wouldn't even drink it
Yeah, he
Edgar Allan
wouldn't
Poe. Even if Edgar Allan Poe had his own drink, it'd be pumped, not only alcohol,
it would
but
probably just be black. Literally just be black.
it'd be pumped with opium. Okay, then, do we have any...
Lemony Snicket drink is actually colored yellow.
Like a lemon.
Thanks for letting us know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Charlie, you can have it next time you get the
But I
Do you have any... what kind of alcohol, and what's in it?
Okay, my hand's been forced.
That was Josh, not me.
Apparently, some of the... One version of the recipe includes 2.5 ounces of gin, half ounce of limoncello, that's LIMONCELLO,
Okay.
half ounce yellow chartreuse, a drink called chartreuse, or is that food coloring?
No, that's a drink.
But I digress. Half ounce fresh lemon juice and a maraschino cherry.
Nice. That sounds pretty good.
I would be in the back of a police car faster than you can say, here, have another.
Oh, there's a play on words on that, too.
Of course.
Sip of wine.
Do we have any final thoughts?
I think it's a good kid's book. I think he actually did a pretty good job. I was surprised that, Lemony Snicket / Daniel Handler was going to write a kid's book of this nature, not of like the series of unfortunate events. It reminds me of a couple other pop-up / book / CD things that I have. I think I have one by Peter Yarrow. The question is that I have for Trevor: is Lemony Snicket?
Dun, dun, dun.
No, that's not the question. The question is Lemony Snicket actually has he released any type of music at all, or is he just known for his writing?
Well, he does do some guest musician work on both as Lemony Snicket and as Daniel Handler for his good friend and almost constant companion during the early years of his writing, Stephen Merritt, whether it be for the Magnetic Fields or the Gothic Archies. As a matter of fact, Lemony Snicket actually did contribute an accordion part on the first audiobook of the series of unfortunate events in the song Scream and Run Away.
I do that all the time.
So he is very familiar with musical concepts then. Okay,
Although
then I think that's why I really like this then. I did really enjoy this book when I borrowed it.
Okay.
And speaking as a musician, I thought it was terrific.
How would we rate it? 0 to 5 stars, half stars permitted, Ari?
4.5 for me. I enjoyed it. I think the illustrations were good. I think that the story was good, and it's just a nice little kid's story, but also shows a lesson in the important aspects of music.
I give this 5 out of 5 accordions.
5 out of 5 cookies.
No, I knew he was gonna say. I was gonna try and stop him now.
But Mom!
Did I just
No.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5 what?
Clams.
No.
I'm giving it a 3.5.
What happened?
He said cookies. I didn't want him to say cookies.
3.5 because it's a very lighthearted, whimsical delight. Lighthearted in the way that it is something that's going to engage people to get into music, even though it has that Lemony Snicket, grim, if you want to even call it a charm.
But it has a free CD.
It
Look,
does have a free
read,
CD.
free CD.
Yeah, I saw that.
You just got to give it more than 3.5 stars. It's got a CD in it.
Alrighty then, if you're interested in checking out this particular children's book, here is a copy. This is, again, written by Lemony Snicket. Music is by Nathaniel Stuckey, and the illustrations are by Carson Ellis. There is a CD on the inside.
I love CDs.
I do too.
They're round.
I
With a
like
hole in the middle, like a donut.
Thank you for tuning into these episodes, and Trevor, thank you for phoning in
Thanks, Trevor.
Thank you, Trevor.
for the 5 discussions this season. Alrighty then, be sure to join us next time for another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now, keep reading.
The composer is dead.
Hi, I'm Dan from Literary Gladiators, and next time we'll be going over Sandman Volume 2, The Doll's House by Neil Gaiman. And we'll be having a little special guest with us, Wise the Owl. Oops, yes. This guy over here. And the thing is, if you like our content, support our channel, subscribe, and the thing is, be sure to support us on Patreon. Until then, keep reading.